I've been nothing but a fighter at home. Thank God I'm a country boy.
Well, do I need to move that? Okay. This is a little different than B&I, let me tell you. I gotta put these on, otherwise I can't see a thing. All right, so I'll just dive in here. Right out of high school, I started in the exhaust business, and I was a muffler man, a ski bum, and just needed to work for beer money. I moved to Reno in 1986 with $700 in cash and a lot of hope. At that time, I was 25 and the smartest person in the world. It was a job and kind of fun to work on cars. I was going to get a real job and a career someday, and you kind of fast forward that. This is hard to wrap up 40 years in a couple minutes here. So without a lot of glory, without any more of that, we opened LT Muffler and Brake in 1997. We had $12,000 in cash and a credit card. And our business plan was to collect money and drink beer. And, I'm sorry I had to write big letters here so I could read it up here. I was a little nervous. I remember the first day that we opened, a well-known parts rep in our town came in and he looked around and he says, "This is it?" And we really had a couple jack stands and a floor jack. And, it was pretty slim. It was just, we did okay, but with what we did, but it didn't leave much time really for drinking beer and collecting money. And I think reality hit one night. It was just the two of us, and we had to push in an F-350 in diesel in the shop. And the way that parking lot was, is it was like kind of uphill, a 90-degree turn, and there was no drive-through, and just two people. That was a lot of fun. And then it was not exactly how my plan was. Anyway, time moved on. This company kept bugging us to attend a seminar in South Lake Tahoe. And so after a while, we came out to the seminar, and I remember thinking, this sounds good, but it won't work in Reno. Reno people are different, Reno's different. This is not gonna work. Well, so we turned to our business plan, and after a few beers, we decided to roll the dice and put what money we had down on with Drive. So right away, we're advised, hire a tech, maybe a service writer. It's like, we just gave all our money away. How are we supposed to do that? So on top of that, we also had to move our shop shortly after we joined with Drive. But with the move and driving our corner, our business exploded. Maddie was our consultant at the time, and she'd become ill. So we ended up with this guy, Larry. And he was pretty loud, matter of fact, and straightforward. I can remember hearing from a lot of consultants at the time, but definitely I remembered every time I heard Larry talking. He would say, "What's the worst thing that could happen if you do this?" I was like, okay. And another quick Larry moment. At the time, me and my partner were having a lot of problems. I would try to boo-hoo about my partner, and Larry would always come back with marketing and increased sales. And I would say, "What about my partner?" And his answer was, "If you two are busy, you won't have time to fight." And so I wasn't sure that was the greatest thing for us at the time, but now looking back on it, that was probably one of the best things that the advice we could have gotten. I have tons of consultant stories, but I probably need to move on. As time moved on, my partnership fell apart, and somewhere in there we dropped Drive. And well, I found myself all alone, just before the housing crash, with a business that sales had dropped. I was dropped down to $650,000 a year at that time, which I was still tracking my numbers, but the stat program that I had crashed. So I called, and that's when I first met Jim Smith, And he had a lot of good things to say, made sense, and genuinely took interest in me and my shop. We talked back and forth over a period of time, and then next thing I know, I'm dealing with Siri, and I'm on the program, and I was back on board. I have to say, if it wasn't for both that Jim and Siri at the time, I probably wouldn't be here now. Jim is one of the best at marketing. If you've ever worked with him, you'll know that. And after I worked with him for about a year, I really understood how marketing could work, and I knew that I could keep a constant stream of cars coming in the shop no matter what. I still had a lot of things to fix, but I knew that. The way we market today, it's very different, but the principles are still the same. We've gone through a lot, going through 9/11, a divorce, raising 2 boys, mostly alone, a partnership dissolution, a housing crash, a bankruptcy, a foreclosure, and all the negative things that can happen to you when you mismanage a business. So anyway, the main thing I can say about all of this is that if you don't give up, you can succeed. Truthfully, without drive and the advice from a few mentors over the years and learning how to listen and really learn, I know my outcome would have been much different. I think it was Bill who gave me a speech about leadership, or gave us a speech about leadership a few years ago that really hit home. It was about a climate it was really hit home. It was about the part of climbing a mountain and having a leader, you know how to show the path and direct the team up the path. At that time, I was dragging my team up the mountain every day. I'd been for a very long time. It just felt like a grind. I know I came away from that talk and I could see what I had been doing wrong. It was just made sense. I realized I was holding on too tight. I was micromanaging everything. That was truly an aha moment, and thank you. Now, I own the building that the shop is in. I live on a 13-acre farm. I'm building a 2,400 square foot shop on my property for cash. I have over $1 million in assets. I have debt, but by choice, not because I must. I take time off every week. My shop is on track to do over $2 million in sales this year. I have 10 employees. My sales team and crew can push out so much work in a day, I just have to stay out of their way. My job is to keep everyone happy, solve problems, and stick to my business plan. At this point, I'd like to thank a few people. First, to a special friend, Siri. She's like my big sister, and I just love her. And she's fantastic. To all my staff, I could never have done it without every one of them. All the drive staff, past and present. My family. I wish my mom and dad could see me now. Some key people: Carla, Sari, Jim Saley, Jim Smith, Rob, Chris Scully, Larry, Maddie, and all the other Drive staff that I've worked with. With all of you at Drive, I feel I really have help at my fingertips. And last, thank you to my top 20 group, the Superior 6. Thank you.